Hey everybody, and welcome back to some more Oxygen Not Included. We're back here with the Impenetrable Gang. It's cycle 75, and that's actually a few cycles ahead of where we left off at the end of the last episode, where we built our new gas chamber, which is actually, as you can see, now got a little bit of hydrogen in it, and that is because between episodes I have set up a new airlock as well as a new gas pump over in this little area up here, just to get all of that gas out of there, because one of the things that I do want to do in today's episode is finally set up individual bedrooms for each of our duplicates, which we're going to do at the top of the base here. And so hopefully fairly soon this room here will be free of chlorine, free of hydrogen, and we'll be able to freely dig up and actually start using this space up here. Whilst we wait for that, we do need to focus on our water problem that we've got over here. You'll notice we have got almost no polluted water currently in our polluted water tank, which is a problem because we're using that water for our lavatories, for our sinks, as well as for our hydroponic farms here, which I've been pronouncing wrongly, and I still did pronounce wrongly. It's hydroponic farm, not hydrophonic farm, but I may missay that throughout the series, apologies. But we need to get more water into our polluted water tank, and I think the easiest way for us to do that is to move this water over here. So I'm not too bothered about the polluted oxygen. Obviously it is not ideal to have this in the base, but we've got an army of deodorizers ready to get rid of all of that as soon as we break in here. And so really the trick here is going to be to not have this water flow out this way. What we want to have happen is we want to dig in here. We're probably almost certainly going to need a ladder to come down into the water itself, but then we're going to dig through this wall over here, trying not to break the floor. I am a little concerned that this floor here is too thin, and the water might just like crack out if there's too much water in any one given place. I'm going to try not to have that happen, although I don't think there's much we can do to prevent that happening. But we'll dig this out here. I'll speed things up a little bit, and hopefully all the water here will flow on into this room, at which point, of course, we will throw down a liquid pump right about here. We'll hook that guy up with power, as per usual, like so. And of course, finally, we'll get our plumbing and just pipe that back over to our pre-existing body of polluted water, at which point the polluted water system should keep going as usual. I think the main culprits here are the thimbleweed farms that we've got going on. These are the only places right now that I can think of where water is actively being removed from the base. Everywhere else, the water is just being cycled around, like the carbon skimmer and the water sieve and the lavatories and whatnot. They just cycle the water back into polluted water. I have failed immediately in not having this water flow everywhere. So real quick here, can I get like a priority 9 tile right about there to hopefully stop some of that? It's not the end of the world, and in actual fact, it might help us a little bit because there is water being put into the polluted water tank, which is, of course, the end goal of this anyway, but not ideal. It is going to give people the soggy feet debuff. Stress is a little high right now, but it's at 2%. I think that's mostly due to the fact that he's been going backwards and forwards through this hole here. Speaking of which, I should probably dig some of this out just so this hydrogen can kind of move up into this area and be pumped out by the gas pump. Although in fairness, this area now is quite low on chlorine and hydrogen, and so it might not be a terrible idea to throw down a an oxygen diffuser, which I learned between episodes, by the way, did used to be called an algae deoxidizer. I was watching an old playthrough of this to learn about plastic and petroleum, and this did used to be called the algae deoxidizer. I kept saying algae deoxidizer throughout the series, and that's why. It's because it used to be called that. But nevertheless, we'll throw down the oxygen diffuser, which hopefully is going to start pumping out oxygen in here, and again, pushing all of that hydrogen and chlorine to the top so that can get pumped out, and eventually we should just have a nice full room of oxygen, at which point we'll clear out an area up here and start building our new bedrooms. I do also wish to move the supercomputer and the research station, and also whilst we're at it, I guess we can also move the manual generator, which we really don't need to have at this point. It's a nice backup just in case we do run out of power or we run out of coal or something like that, but for now, I don't really think we need it. We've got like 16.2 tons of coal, and so I don't think we're going to be running out of coal anytime soon. And essentially, I'm just going to put them here on this room next to the rock crusher and the micro musher. As I mentioned before, I'm really just wanting the research station to be closer to the bottle emptier so that our duplicates can more quickly and easily get water to the research station as and when they need it. That is almost certainly going to require a ladder of some description, but that should do just fine. We'll dig out a little further as well, and while we're at it, we might as well put the tiles in as well if they can actually get up there. The micro musher, I'll take this down for now. We're not using it, and also I do want to put a door there. We can always replace it in the future should we need it. And one of the things that we did unlock in the last episode, finally, is the fire pole. And we've not used this yet, but what I'm kind of thinking of doing is just having this run all the way down to, like, from top to bottom here to make it that much faster for our duplicants to get from the very top of the base down to the bottom. One of the reasons I didn't move the research station, not only due to the fact that I want researching to be done faster, I also wanted our base to be more symmetrical, as always, and so I would like to delete these 3 tiles here and have our ladder continue on up, much like this ladder on the right-hand side here. But yeah, I do want to have a fire pole going all the way down to the bottom like so. And this should just make it that much quicker for our duplicants to descend the base. They're still going to have to climb the ladder to get up, at least until we get transit tubes, which require quite a bit of plastic. But for the time being, this should work out just fine and should make, for example, refilling up the coal generators just so much quicker, which is going to be real nice. So ladder can continue on up like so. This, you can see, is now almost completely full of oxygen, which is great. There is some chlorine at the bottom there. I don't know if there's much that we can do about that. I was kind of hoping the chlorine would rise up above the oxygen, because down here the chlorine always seems to kind of make its way up. Although I guess not. The oxygen is kind of sitting above the chlorine there. I guess if we dig up here now, the chlorine's going to sink right down to the bottom of the base, which is not ideal, but it's also not terrible. I guess what we could just do is move this down, right? Like if we move the gas pump to the bottom of the base, it should go ahead and suck up that remaining chlorine. So you know what? Sure, let's put a gas pump right here next to our oxygen diffuser, just as soon as we get rid of that phosphorite there, or sorry, that balm lily right there. At that point, we should be able to throw it down. We are kind of disrupting the habitat of these Drecos here, which is not ideal, but they'll be fine in the long run, I'm sure. And one of the things I do want to work on in today's episode, outside of the fire pole, and oh, look at this. Look how fast they descend that fire pole. That is great. They get down there so quickly. I love it. But as I was saying, one of the things I do want to work on in today's episode is exosuits, which I actually don't think we have unlocked yet. And so I should really get our research station back up and running so we can actually get this done before the end of the episode. So we'll throw down the research station and the supercomputer. But I'm thinking of having our exosuits probably in this room here. I'm thinking of shrinking the size of our thimbleweed farm, mainly again due to the fact that the thimbleweed farm is using so much of our water, and we can't really afford to be using all of our water right now, and also due to the fact that I don't think we need this much thimbleweed. We do have, I think, 42 reed fiber, which I think should be enough, at least for the short term, and we are going to continue to grow a smaller amount of thimbleweed as time goes on here. But I'm thinking of getting rid of a few of these hydroponic farm tiles here and putting down my exosuit station, as well as space for a couple of exosuits, and journeying down through the gas room. Like, we could do it elsewhere, but I think we've already got the water lock here. I don't want to set up another water lock, and so ideally we can have our duplicants just come through here, go down, and then, you know, we'll have this ladder continue on down, and then we can continue to explore deeper and deeper into the world, and maybe even find some oil? I think it's crude oil we find, and we turn that crude oil into petroleum. So can we get that gas pump down now? We still cannot, because the priority on harvesting this guy is very low, so I'll bump that up to a priority 7 so that hopefully somebody will go and move it. We do have a new duplicant to choose, and I think it's kind of getting to the point where we could maybe justify a 7th duplicant. I was thinking about this between episodes, and unlike in previous versions of the game, the last version of the game that I played, which was over a year ago now, the duplicants now get skill points which they can distribute amongst themselves to get better as they proceed, and so I feel like there is more of an incentive now to unlock duplicants earlier in the game. Like, the later you wait, the more you've got to level them up before they can do the useful things like, you know, create exosuits and take water out of pipes and stuff like that. So I am contemplating a new duplicant. That said, I am going to take the dirt for now and just continue on with our 6 duplicants that we have. Let's not forget about the polluted water over here. I would very much so like to get that up and running if we can. And we're probably also going to have to dig this out as well so that all the water can actually move over into there. But how is this doing? That has still not been harvested. Did I do that right? I did. I'm going to set it to like a priority 9. It is the start of the day, so everyone's probably just resting right now. That's fine. Our research stations are up and running, and so in the research tab, let's go ahead and select the research for hazard protection, which gives us access to the exosuit overlay. It also gives us the exosuit forge, which allows us to actually make the exosuits, as well as the checkpoint and the dock. These are essentially used to tell your duplicants when they should be switching into their exosuits. So, for example, if we had one here, they would know when they walk past it that they had to get in an exosuit before they could continue on into this area of the base, which is ideal. It means they shouldn't get the sopping wet debuff, and it also means as we go further down to the core of the world, and as the temperatures get hotter and hotter, they should be able to withstand those. I don't think there's a limit to the temperature they can withstand in the exosuit, although I could be wrong about that. I'd also like to check out this like building here. You can see there's the outline of a structure. We do need to get to this door to actually open it. There's a submit bioscan button. This door requires a sample to unlock. I'm not quite sure what kind of sample we have to provide, but I'm interested in checking that out. So they're almost done over here, which is good. The power looks not to be connected. It is not, but that's because they cannot build this wire right here. If I do this, they might be able to build that wire. I don't want to dig it out on the other side just in case this all comes flooding out, which is not what I want at all. I'll also set like a priority 5 mop on this. There's no rush for this because we're not using the algae distillers right now, which is fine. We've got 6.1 tons of algae. We do want to keep an eye on our current algae situation and make sure we turn this on as and when we need them. But for now, this is fine. Hopefully why are you not being harvested? Our duplicants can get here, right? Like, that's something they can do. There's a priority 9 on the harvest. Uproot. Is that the problem? Is it not a harvest job? Is it an uproot job? Here we go. Okay, I just clicked the wrong button. That's fine. So he's going to dig that up, at which point we can finally put down our gas pump and get rid of the last little bits of chlorine here. We'll, of course, connect that up like so. There's no filter on this, which I guess could be an issue. We are pumping. Yeah, that's not something we should be doing, really. We shouldn't be pumping oxygen into here. Originally, before the diffuser, it kind of made sense because there was only chlorine and hydrogen in here. But now we should delete a couple of these pipes and replace them with a filter so that only the chlorine gets pumped out and the oxygen kind of stays in here, because we want to try and keep the pressure in our other room as low as possible. I guess we're going up here with this. That's fine. And so we're going to have you go in. I put that down the wrong way. Let me switch that up real quick. I want the input to be on this side and the output on the other side. So we're going to have you go in there, and then we're going to have the chlorine go this way. And for now, everything else can come out on this side like so. Nice. And then, of course, that does need power as well. That's fine. We can go ahead and hook that up like so. And so we'll go ahead and set that to a 9's fine. It doesn't need to be priority 9, but for the time being, that's okay. They still can't reach that, eh? Do I need to dig out, like, these two as well? Maybe just this one? And they should be able to get there? There's also a little Pacu in here as well. I did do some research into these fish and how we could potentially use them. Apparently, they're not a bad source of food, to be fair, because once you domesticate them, apparently they do reproduce very, very quickly. And so you can use them to generate quite a large amount of food. However, I think they eat algae. Is it? Let me check the database real quick here so I don't get my... Yeah, they eat algae. So they are a good source of food, and they do reproduce quite quickly, so you can get a lot of them. But consuming algae is not great, especially when algae is such an important resource for getting and sustaining oxygen in the base. Speaking of critters, though, we do have 2 stone hatchling eggs in our stable here. Our diet of nothing but igneous rock has finally paid off. And we're about to get some stone hatches in here, which is going to be fantastic. Ideally, is this online now? I think it is. It sounds like the power went out, though. Oh, no, I just not hooked this up. There we go. The power wire there is strained, which I'm not a huge fan of. Again, I think that's partly due to the fact that some of the machines on here, like this guy, are connected but not being used. So I think that registers with the power network that 240 watts could be used. I don't think it's actually strained, because I don't think we have anywhere near 1,000 watts worth of stuff being used. Yeah, no, not even close. But here we go. The chlorine is now pretty much entirely gone, so that is fantastic. We can then essentially delete everything up here. Yep, that's fine. There's a little bit of hydrogen there, but that's going to stay right at the top of the base. That is fine. There's also a little tiny bit of chlorine, but again, that's fine. We're not in the business of getting rid of all of the chlorine in the entire world here, so that is a-okay with me. And then now we're going to start digging out this area up here, because I want another floor right about here. Not like that. Like that. And then above that is where we're going to have the bedrooms. And so for now, what I'm thinking is, if this is the door, 1, 2, 3, 4, like so, I'm thinking of doing it 4 wide So 1, 2, 3, 4, and just having little 4x4 rooms, you know, with a bed, maybe a plant, and then like a picture, just to try and make these like a really good place for relieving stress. Because again, our duplicates do spend, you know, presumably 7 to 8 hours of their day asleep. I actually don't know what the equivalent is in this world here. They spend 3 of their however many squares asleep. And so we do really want those to be zones that relieve stress where possible. And we'll do the same on this side, of course. We do have 6 duplicates for now. This is, of course, expandable, which is great. We can always just continue on to the left or to the right to add in more rooms for more duplicates. 1, 2, 3, 4. So it's going to be here and here. This is why we need to get rid of that, because as soon as we break this, that was going to come flooding in. And then here. Nice. So those are going to be our new rooms. We do, of course, have to dig out this whole area here. Might as well dig out this middle area, apart from the oxalite, so that can continue to give us oxygen. And we'll dig out, again, the whole area here, apart from the oxalite, so we can continue to get the free oxygen from it. And then eventually they can dig up all of this stuff up here. We can get rid of the water lock, and all of that will be good. Research is being complete, which is fantastic. We're almost there on the exosuits. We'll get to those any second now. Our water is being pumped away, which is also great. I have no idea how long that's going to take. It's quite a large body of water. As soon as this starts to get quite low, I will break into this top area and have that fall down. I'm not going to do that just yet. This doesn't look like a whole lot of water, but I'm a little worried that it might flood. There's no way that floods over, right? Yeah, no, I'm going to dig in. I'm going to dig this up. Let's go and get a ladder going here and dig out like this area. There's no way this water floods over this tile. I just don't think that's possible. So we'll dig that out, and then we'll continue this ladder up over here. We might as well also continue the fire pole as well, so they can get up in the morning, get out of their beds, and just jump on the fire pole all the way down to work. Of course, we do want doors separating these rooms here so that our duplicates do have their privacy where needed. And overall, things are looking pretty good. People did mention my source of food as something that we should be concerned about. Right now, we're using mealwood for all of our food. And the thing about mealwood is that it does use dirt actively. So you'll see it uses 10 kilograms of dirt per cycle here. And while that's not a huge problem in the early game, because of course we can just dig out dirt, and we probably have dirt in abundance. Yeah, 119-ish, 107 tons of dirt. And so using 10 kilograms a day of our 110,000 kilograms that we've got is, you know, not crazy, although we do use 10 kilograms per mealwood seed. But people did mention using, I think it's the bristle blossom, which produces bristle seeds. Let me see real quick. I think we do have them. Balm lily flowers. Let me check on here. People mentioned using, the blossom seed here, which when harvested will produce the bristle berries, which can then be cooked on the grill into an even better food than just eating the berries on their own. The downside to this is that they consume water. Now, water is more of a renewable resource than dirt because, of course, we can generate water just through our duplicates using the lavatory. But eventually, we're going to run out of dirt, and so it might be in our interest to switch over. It also helps with the morale and the stress of our duplicates because they're not super happy with eating the meal lice right now. Again, if you look at them whenever they eat anything, they kind of pull that disgusted face and they wipe their tongue clean because they hate the food that they're eating. So we could probably switch that over, especially as we push forward down the skill tree. The higher level of skill that we have, the more morale that we need. You'll notice right now here that Stinky has got 13 morale and he needs 12. If we were to try and advance him to rocket piloting, he would need 4 more morale. He would need 16 and he's only got 13. And so we do need to make sure that morale is high, especially for our duplicates that are pushing down to the end of this this tech tree here. Speaking of duplicates in the skill trees, though, we do have May, who is available for a new skill point here. She's just done plumbing, which she's now able to do, and she's moved down the art line here. I think I'm going to go with construction, much like with the other duplicates. If I'm not too sure what to give them, construction seems like a safe bet, just to make everything around the base as fast as we can. And now that these are coming along as well, we can actually put our artist to use. It's been so long, they've actually not done like any artwork or any, they've not put that creativity to use at all. And finally, I want to put down a couple of paintings. I also really want to get a jukebox down at some point. Oh, sorry, a jukebot. A jukebot? Plays music for the duplicates to dance to in their breaks. I would very much so like this. I don't know how many breaks our duplicates have right now. I don't think it's many, but I would very much so like to get those if possible. And so we'll have the rooms look something a little bit like this. Yeah, this is nice. Of course, we want a tile here and here. I think I've specified it already, but just in case I haven't, I do want only May to be the one doing decorating. Yeah, everybody else is set to no. New duplicates are set to no by default. This is good. I want only May to be the one who does this. Otherwise, we end up with very bad artwork that our duplicates do not like. So keeping it to May should result in some good artwork that increases the decor by quite a large amount, which is always good. Our water tank is filling up nicely, which is also great. Yeah, this didn't overflow either, which is good. And now we can go ahead and pump all this out. Once it's all pumped out, we'll dig out the remaining slime here and algae and whatnot, and maybe a bit of this as well, and then box it all off so that none of the slime touches the air, none of our duplicates have to touch the slime, and finally we should be free of all of that slime lung. You can see there is a lot of it here, but this diffuser should eventually, in combination with our deodorizers, get rid of all that slime lung, and hopefully will not be a problem for us, ideally. Oh yeah, look at this. Look at this. We've got two masterpieces right here. Her two first drawings, or paintings, or canvas art pieces. I'm not quite sure what the correct word is there, but her first two attempts are both masterpieces. And then in here, we're going to go ahead and plant something like these briar seeds. We can always mix it up and give everybody something different, like maybe a buddy bud seed or a mirth leaf seed. Sure, let's make it a little different for each room, just to mix it up a little bit. I think that's one thing that our base is kind of sorely missing right now. Did I put a flower pot there? I didn't mean to. But yeah, I think our base is desperately missing a good amount of decor. Everything in the base right now is kind of bland and just tile and ladders, which is not great. We've got this little statue over here, and this room is a little bit nicer, but it'd be nice to get some paintings around the place, you know, especially in the areas that they work. You know, we could even make the lavatory a bit nicer. I was also thinking about lighting as well. We seem to have lost a lot of our shine bugs. I have no idea where they've gone. Maybe they just all died and didn't reproduce fast enough. There were a few in these pockets here, but all the ones that were in the core base are no longer here. And so if you look at the light overlay on our base, it's not something I really think about, but the whole base is just dark. And so for our duplicates, they're kind of just walking around in the dark all day. And it's a weird trade-off because we could rectify that, of course, by putting down just lights everywhere, but the lights do require power. And at least until our duplicates start complaining about it, I'm not super into the idea of wasting power on artificial light. We'll throw a joyous seed down there. And then, of course, we're going to replicate this. I didn't mean to put that there. We can get rid of that. We're going to replicate this on the other side. So furniture, cot. I think we'll have it the other way around, right? So that the cot is here, here, and eventually here. That is going to dig out the oxalite, but that's fine. We're doing okay on oxygen, so that's okay. And then blank canvas can go here, here, and eventually here. Flower pots, here, here, and here. And then we can't specify those until they're built, but that's fine. I think Frankie is trapped up here. So let's go ahead and try and get him out with some ladders real quick. And are we done on the research? Do we have the exosuits? We do. Nice. Okay, so down here, we need a couple of things. First things first, we need to get rid of these. Now, let me see if I can't use our newfound pipe emptying mechanic. I probably don't need to, because I did disconnect these between episodes because we were running very low on polluted water, and I wanted most of our polluted water to go up to here. I will go ahead and deconstruct these now. We don't need this pipe going up here anymore. But these should now all be empty, and so I'm just going to go ahead and delete all of those. Actually, for now, I'll delete the back few, and we'll leave the front ones here for growing more thimbleweed. And I'll even go as far as reconnecting up our pipe there, so those can actually start growing again. Again, I'm not going to take another duplicate just yet. I'll take 3 more briar seeds to plant around the base, I guess. But this is all coming along nicely. I quite like this that we got going on over here. I would love it if they could fit this in, if they could build this roof in. They can't reach it just yet, which is why they're not doing that. I would also very much so like if they'd sweep this area. I think the reason they're not sweeping it is mostly due to the fact that there is nowhere to put anything that's swept. So we will expand out our storage bins, like so. And then this room is just going to get expanded as well because I want it to be the same size as all the other rooms, and we're going to move these cots any minute now into their new rooms. Actually, we can go ahead and delete these now, I guess, because these 3 rooms are all ready to go, and actually these 2 are also pretty much ready to go. And look at that, they do all individually count as barracks, which is good. What makes them into a bedroom? They need a single comfy bed, no cots, no industrial machinery, a 12 to 64 tile size range, a decor item, and a minimum height of 4 tiles. Okay, so they need an actual comfy bed, which I don't think we can make just yet. I believe we need plastic before we can make that happen. Yeah. Now, right now, we don't have any glossy Drecos, and so we can't shear those for plastic. Our only way of getting plastic is going down, finding oil, and processing that with, I think it's a polymer press. And so, annoyingly, these did all have water in them, which baffles me because there's not been water connected to them in quite some time, so I really thought they wouldn't have any water in them. I guess I'll never learn, but we'll delete that. We'll build some tile here, and then we can finally start to put down our exosuits. So, we need 1 Atmo suit checkpoint, and then we need as many Atmo suit docks as we want duplicates who can go through. So we could put down 6, and that would allow all 6 duplicates to go and do that at once. We don't really have space for 6, so I think for now I'll go with maybe 2 or 3. So let me think. How do I want this to work? I'm not quite sure. You'll see there is an arrow there at the top. So I think we probably want... Have we got 4 duplicates all trapped over here? I think we do. I think we've only got Hassan and one of the duplicates somewhere who is not trapped. Maybe there's 3 people on this tile. I'm not quite sure. I can see Frankie and Berto on there. May and Stinky. Where's Mimar? I have no idea. But either way, let's go ahead and prioritize these tiles here. They're actually already priority 9. So our duplicates can actually get out and get back to work. There we go. All right. So back over to the stations here. I want to have the checkpoint. And I believe the way this works, although I could be wrong, is we have this facing this way. I'm going to have it here for now. And then we're going to build 2 docks. Actually, we'll build 3 docks like so. And we've got space for up to 5 if we want to add more. And eventually we could move these farms here to maybe up here and then have that checkpoint a lot further back. But I think... I don't know if this is right, actually. I think it might be the other way around. I think this might go on this side, because I think the idea is that you cannot pass this checkpoint unless you have an exosuit on. So let me go ahead and change that. I'm going to put the checkpoint here, like so. I probably should have tested it before I went ahead and just deconstructed it, but I think this is correct. It does, of course, need power, as do they all, so we'll hook those up. These guys definitely are going to push our network over, I think. Although, again, maybe not. We have 240 watts here. None of this stuff is running continually, so we don't have to worry about that. So actually, no, we should be fine. We're still nowhere near the 1,000 watt limit yet. So let's go ahead and put down the final dock like so. Now, we do need to pipe oxygen to these, because again, the way that these work is not only do they protect against the environment, but they also do protect against not being able to breathe for our duplicates. So we'll hook all these up with power. And then we do need to pump oxygen in there. Now, there are a few ways, I guess, that we could do this. I will mop up everything here. There is a bit of water by our generator, which I guess is not fantastic and not ideal by any stretch of the imagination. But they also need oxygen, and they also need a suit as well. So we do need to go and actually make the Exosuit Forge. Right now, we're missing 400 kilograms of refined metal, and so I will go and request 400 kilograms, which is 8 lots of copper. We're using copper just because we got a lot of it, and it doesn't really matter right now which material we make it out of. We do have a new duplicate skill available, that being Bert, who I think is going to go with improved carrying so that he can get down to exosuit training, which actually reduces the exosuit penalty. And I believe what that means is that they can actually move faster while wearing the exosuit. Most duplicates get like a speed debuff. They walk slower while in the exosuit. Whereas if somebody is, trained in using an exosuit, they can move a little bit quicker. Speaking of training again, Stinky here is ready to go. So it's probably not a good idea to give him rocket piloting because his morale is not high enough. If we were to do that, he would probably start to get stressed a lot faster. And so I think we'll probably just go ahead and maybe give him improved tinkering so we can get some mechatronics engineering, but also probably just improved construction for the time being. Again, eventually, if we change our minds later on down the line, we can go ahead and scrub all his skill points and put them into the rocketry line if we really need rocketry at some point. So, whilst we wait for our metal, for our Exosuit Forge, let's think about how we're going to deal with the oxygen setup. And I think what I'm going to do, almost certainly here, is just throw down a diffuser. I'm going to put down a gas pump right about here. We could just put a gas pump like up here, but I don't really want to take away oxygen from the core part of the base. I want our duplicates to still be able to breathe, right? And so I think I'll just put one here, and then we'll just have a little gas pipe that goes from here. It is going to have to go through a filter to make sure that only oxygen ends up in the exosuits. Otherwise, I'm fairly certain they do take damage. And so we're going to have oxygen go up and into here like so. Now, it's a bit of a weird setup that we've got. Wherever possible, I believe the way the pipes work is that wherever possible, if there's a split, they will split 50-50. So at this junction here, they will split 50-50. So half of the oxygen is going to go into this first dock, and half of the oxygen is going to go over into this second area. But then this half is going to be split amongst these two. And so again, when it gets to this section, half is going to go in here, and half is going to go in here. So right now, it's set up in such a way, if we did this, that 50% goes to the first one, and then 25% goes to each of these subsequent ones. Now, I don't think there's a really easy way for us to fix that with 3 docks. If we made a 4th dock, what we could do is we could have the split be a lot earlier. For example, we could do something like this. And then if there was a fourth one here, do it like this. This way, 100% would come up, and then 50% would go up, and then be split to 25-25. And the other 50% would come this way, and be split 25-25, as compared to if we just did something like this, where if we did it like that, which is kind of how I've done it up until now, again, this way it's 50% and then 50, and then 25 and 25, and then 12.5 and 12.5. So if you do it this way, your end docks are going to fill up a lot slower than your first ones. But if you do it the other way, like this, all of these will fill up at the same speed simultaneously. So this is probably the better way to go about doing it. And as awkward as it looks, I am going to leave it like that for now, just in preparation for a fourth exosuit dock later on down the line. Of course, this does make this one charge faster, but that's fine for the time being at least. How are we doing on refined metal? We are good. We've got what it takes to make the exosuit forge. And so for now, I will go ahead and put this down like right... I can't fit it there because I put this machine here in a ridiculous place. But I'll put it right here, mostly because there is already wire there ready for us to just tap into like that. Speaking of wire, we should definitely get rid of that little bit right there. And of course, we do have to connect all of these guys up to power as well, which is definitely going to creep us a little closer to that 1,000 watts. We might have to disable these maybe. Although this is not going to be on permanently. Well, I mean, okay, so right now it is going to be on permanently, and it's a bit of a problem here. We do want to have a gas vent coming out of here, and for now, we'll put this a bit further away, just so that if there is anything that's not oxygen, like you can see there's a bit of chlorine there, it doesn't just immediately get picked up again by the gas pump. But we'll leave that like this, and the slight problem that we're going to enter, let me just check that this is working correctly. I think this is working just fine as soon as somebody gets this built. The problem with this is that the gas pump is probably going to be on all the time, which is not what we want. This is kind of where the automation comes in and the sensors. We could change this so that if the gas pressure gets too high, it stops. Because once the gas pressure gets too high, like, obviously these are going to fill up, and once these are filled up, then the gas pressure in here is going to start getting quite high because all the gas is just going to get pumped straight from here out over to here. You can see already we're getting to that point where the gas pressure is too high. Right now, these are not filling up because of the fact that they don't, at least I don't think they're filling up, because of the fact that they don't have an exosuit in them. So temporarily, I'm going to go ahead and disable this building real quick, at least until we get our 3 exosuits, which we should be able to do over here with our forge. So I would like to make 3 Atmo suits, and we can either make them out of aluminum, copper, or iron. I don't think it matters right now, at least, which one we go with. I don't see any difference in the stats here. That does mean we need actual refined metal, though, and if we're going to make 3 of these, we do need, what, 540 kilograms, which is quite a lot of copper, so I will go ahead and get this rolling again. We'll make 10 there, because we've already got a few. We can go ahead and delete the final few beds here, because we have got new rooms available now, and I would love if these actually got planted. That might be my bad. I may or may not have actually scheduled those to be placed down. I would also love if there was not stuff on the floor here, but again, I haven't actually set these to go yet, so let's go ahead and copy settings and paste. And then let's also specify, do we have a Dreco on the floor there? I think we do. I think it's either sleeping or a baby, but let's plant the flowers in here, just to make this look a little bit nicer. This one looks crazy. The sporchid seed, that looks wild. But look at this. This looks so much nicer already than it did at the start of today's episode. I'm really happy with how that's turned out. As soon as we get... Oh, no, I don't want to destroy that yet. As soon as we get a little bit here, we can actually go ahead and start scheduling these at least. So we'll schedule 3 Atmos suits. And as soon as they're in there, we can turn the gas pressure back on. And we should almost be good to go. We could also, now that we have a lot of, oh, I say we've got a lot of reed fiber. We've still got 30 reed fiber. We could also look at making a textile loom and giving everybody snazzy suits. Also, we do have our first exosuit here, so let's go ahead and deliver suit to this first area. At which point we should see the oxygen start to pump in as soon as we turn this back on. And oh no, I didn't even specify oxygen. Here we go. Let me go ahead and turn that back on, because I might be a fool here actually. These might fill up even without suits in them. Let me check. I'm actually not too sure, but instantly Stinky went down and used the first suit. So I know I've done it right. That's good. It does say contents empty. I don't know. Oh yeah, look, you can see these are filling up here. These green bars these like tanks of oxygen here are filling up. I think this one might not be filling up because of the fact that A, someone's using it, but also I guess the gas is being put directly into the exosuit and then this starts to fill up. Wow, I didn't realize there was so much demand for going down here. Did I set this to a high priority? I didn't. But nevertheless, people have decided they want to go and clean that up. I'm actually going to cancel that real quick because I'm not too bothered about them getting that done. I would much prefer that they sweep up everything up here and get that put into storage. That would be a lot nicer. And also, I guess while we're at it, we might as well put down a few more storage bins. Not there. Here and here, like so. We're slowly but surely getting them on the waterfront. It is going to take quite a while for this to get there. And actually, we should go ahead and disable that building on like a priority 8 because otherwise this is going to get way too full. And speaking of which, we should also just go ahead and delete those so that we can make some more room over there. Duplicate-wise, we will take... Ooh, maybe the Slickster lava? These guys, I think, are pretty interesting. Let me check the database, though, real quick. Slicksters are a unique creature most renowned for their ability to exude hydrocarbon waste that is nearly identical in its makeup to crude oil. Okay, so I think they do actually just emit crude oil. Yeah, it excretes crude oil, okay. But so you feed it carbon dioxide and it excretes crude oil. That is very interesting. And there might be a semi-decent way of us getting a little bit of oil before we go dig down. Potentially, I'll take one. And we'll see if we can make it work. Choose a blueprint. I'll take the Slickster lava. And then I guess we could maybe try putting it at the bottom here, or maybe even just at the bottom of our base. I assume when it excretes the crude oil, it's just going to put it on the floor. But I guess we could just mop it up and put it in like a tank somewhere. Potentially. That might work. Our exosuits are also ready, so I will click deliver suit on both those. I'm not quite sure if we've got 2 of those down now. It does say +1. And we do have 1 still scheduled. So we do need a bit more, I think, in the way of refined metal. But our exosuits are pretty much ready to go. And unfortunately, I don't think we can dig through the tile here for this like unknown building. So we are going to have to do a bit of a roundabout dig to get lower down in the base. You know, we can build ladders that go down like this. But then we're probably going to have to come across here and then use ladders that go down like this. So that we can get even further down, because we can't dig through this. Whilst we're here, we can also check out this door and see if we got what it takes to submit a scan. That would be pretty cool. I would like, if we can make it, we need some more refined metal, but I would like that Atmos sensor, so that when this area over here, I'll put it like right here, so when this gets to 2,000, or just, you know, when this gets high on gas pressure, like maybe 1,700, we'll shut this off, so that when these fill up, and the gas starts just coming over here, it shuts down. Unfortunately, thinking about it, that's probably not going to work. Simply due to the fact... I wonder if we can have them come out of here, maybe? Like, I would really like it if we could have... There is an automation thing on here, but I don't think this does what I want it to do. I would really love for this just to be able to be like, when we're full, turn off. But I don't think that's going to happen. I don't think these emit... Although maybe they do. I could try it, I guess. I could try having a wire come out of here, because maybe when the oxygen's full, we can turn this off. Maybe? We'll give it a try. I'm going to set these to a slightly higher priority so that hopefully if we do have the exosuits, they get delivered. But I'm really happy about this. Somebody is stressed. It's Bert. Why are you so stressed, Bert? He's got soggy feet and he's not happy about that. Why do you have soggy feet? I guess it's probably due to the fact that a lot of our base is covered in water that shouldn't be. Like that area over there. The stress level is quite high. 16% is a little up there. Hopefully that goes away soon. There's no reason it should be going up here, so I don't think that's the issue. Hopefully going forward, we don't see any duplicates with the soggy feet debuff as they head through into this area. I would, of course, love for some ladders to be here and here as well, if our guys can do it. And I would also love to uproot this just so we can build further down there. We do need yet more refined metal. How much copper ore do we have scheduled? None. Let's go and schedule yet more copper, because I do wish to get these automation wires going here, and I'd also like to get this exosuit online. Speaking of automation wire, though, we do have some in the back end here that we can definitely repurpose. So let's get rid of that, and hopefully that will free up some metal to actually build automation wire. So I'm going to try this and see what happens. I don't think it's going to work. I'm very pessimistic about this actually working. Also, at this point in time, we can move this door down. We don't really need this door to be up here anymore. But this does have a red line coming out of it. But I really don't... And that has turned this off. but I have a feeling that this is never going to turn back on. Like, for example, if I get some automation wire and I have it come out of here, if this wire is also red, then I think this is not working. I think it's just going to always be red. My main concern is that there's no, like, toggleable bar. If there was something I could toggle, I would be more confident. Yeah, I don't think this is going to work. Okay, I'm going to cancel. I'm going to delete these. I don't know what we're going to do with this. Let me know in the comment section if you have any ideas for how we could regulate this. My idea was to put an Atmo sensor here, but once this gets above a certain threshold, I don't see any reason why it's going to go down. Like, as soon as these are empty, that's not going to change the gas pressure over here. So I don't think that's going to help at all. Speaking of automation, though, one of the things I did contemplate whilst I was thinking about lights, like having lights around the base, is potentially having, like, duplicate activated lights, like in the grand hall here, or just in rooms where they go, like the lavatory as well, for example. So having lights on does improve the decor. So if you have like a ceiling light in here, it improves the decor. But of course, they do use power. Not a lot of power, 10 watts. It's not huge, but it's more power than we need to use right now. So, you know, ideally they'd be off when they're not needed. We could have, you know, a couple of lights in here, say 2, so that they cover the mess tables. And then using a duplicate sensor, a motion sensor, which you can rotate like this, we could have this on the roof as well, or maybe, you know, on the wall or something, and have this detect when a duplicate is in. And if there is a duplicate, you know, in the radius, turn on the lights. So again, I don't know if that's worth it. I feel like it could be cool, though, to have, like, you know, smart home electric lights in the base so that they come online when our duplicates enter a room. I feel like that'd be pretty cool. Our vault pups have spawned or grown or become larger. I don't remember. I guess we took some eggs at some point, maybe? Or just some, I don't know, but we've got a few of them now ready to go. We also have new skills available. Let's go ahead and assign Mimar to electrical engineering, I think. Like so. All of our suits are in now, which is fantastic. And the ladder is not done because we need to do a bit of ladder in between, like so. And I would like to see if we can't find the lower biome. I want to see if we can't find the oil biome or the hot lava biome at the bottom of the map before we wrap up today's episode. I don't think we're too far away here. I don't think it's super far down, if memory serves me right. So I would love to see that. Our stone hatches have been born. They are now overcrowded and glum in here, which is not great. We could always kill a couple of these hatches, although I'm fairly certain they're going to be close to death anyway. Age 94, 29, 17, and 54. The 94 one is obviously going to die pretty soon. We might have to get rid of another one anyway. We could always set up another hatch farm in this room opposite, for example, to, you know, get even more coal. Obviously, as our power network grows and we need more and more power to sustain our base, we could definitely do with more coal being available to us. And so I might just set up one for stone hatches and one for regular hatches, with the end goal, of course, being that they were all stone hatches. But for now, we're kind of in that interim period where, you know, we've got a mix of both and not enough stone hatches to solely go with stone hatches. But this is working, though. They're using the exosuits, which is good. They're not worried about, you know, suffocating in the chlorine, which is also great. They're getting the job done. It is a little far. We could, of course, make this faster with a fire pole, but again, that's a lot of resources. I would have loved to go further down with this one. And I guess eventually, once we move this body of water, we could just go, you know, right down with this. It would involve moving some of the gases out of the way that are here and kind of trying to pump them over into our pre-existing tank. But that would be kind of my long-term goal. Maybe move these exosuits much further down, because we don't really need them for these areas. If we can get the chlorine and the hydrogen out of here, which we will do eventually as we expand our base outwards into, you know, needing more space, eventually we can clear these areas out and move the exosuit station much further down to where it gets significantly hotter. Because although our duplicates are not going to be comfortable at 40 degrees, they're definitely not near the point where it's, you know, going to scald them or damage them in any meaningful way. I don't think so, at least. So we can always move that later on down the line. One thing I should have done a while ago, because I'm a fool, is well, this has been turned off. I forgot to mention, and I completely forgot that I did this. I put this to, I enable auto bottle. So obviously we were running out of water here at the start of the episode. Let's also set this priority of the deconstruct a little higher to make some room here, and begin sweeping this. Thankfully our fresh water is locked off. But I set this to auto bottle and I put down a pitcher pump here. So what was happening is they were grabbing the water from here and putting it in over here, which is why we've got some clean water in with our polluted water. Unfortunately, I didn't turn that off. And so they've kept doing this, even though it's now spilling out into the entirety of the base, which is really not what I was after. Again, not a huge deal. They can get to this, right? I think they can. So hopefully they will go and deconstruct that fairly soon. This is just pumping the water back into here. That's fine. That's not a huge problem for us, at least not just yet. Okay, so I think from here we're going to go straight down. Like this. We got another little room here with a computer desk, a weight plate, a security door. There's also a clock on the wall, but I don't think that's an actual item. We got a couple of broken light fixtures. Some little stuff in there. I don't think we can see what's in here at all. I'm going to click Submit Bioscan. I don't know if we can actually do anything with this yet. There's no database entry available on this. Primary element is copper ore. Yeah, I can't... This doesn't seem to do anything. So, I guess I can't use that just yet. Oh, no, we can. Oh, hello. Okay, so we've got 3 lockers, which I guess we could go and inspect or rummage. Yeah, let's go rummage through all of these. We've got some dusk caps, as well as some mushrooms. Oh, we got some snazzy suits and some cool vests. Oh, nice. And then up here, we've got a neutral vacillator. Oh, sorry, a neural vacillator, which I assume you sit in and this thing like sits down and transfers brain energy or something. I'm not too sure. It looks real freaky though. But nevertheless, I do want to keep on digging down to hopefully maybe see some oil, because plastic is really the next frontier that we need to pass. Once we get plastic, we can start making better tiles. We can start making those comfy beds, turning our barracks into bedrooms, all that kind of good stuff. For now, we can go ahead and turn this off. We'll do this manually until we get that automated in some way, but there's more than enough oxygen in all of these to sustain it for now. The water problem continues to persist. I feel like they can't reach these. I know they can, but they're not doing anything about it. Okay, so a few cycles later, we finally managed to clean all the water up, and I finally realized that I am a fool, and the reason they've not deconstructed these, you fool, is that they can't get over there. There's a big gap of water between the ladder here and the actual buildings. They cannot get anywhere close to the deconstruction task that we've set over here, so I'll go ahead and try fix that. I think next episode I will try and make this tank a bit bigger, so we can try and move the remaining bit of polluted water that we have over here into this tank. You know, we can bring it a little bit further down, potentially. Maybe even a bit wider, if needs be. I do love the symmetry we have right now, but we also need to move this water where possible. Skill-wise, we do have one more duplicant available for skill advancement. We've got Frankie here, who we could push into Construction 3. And you know what? Sure, let's go for it. Construction 3. And then blueprint-wise, we'll take the briar seeds for now. They're making good progress down here. They're getting quite far down. Still not found any oil or anything just yet, which was my my hopeful plan for today's episode. However, it seems like that's not going to happen, unfortunately. But the exosuits are working and have been a success so far, so I'm happy about that. People seem very happy with the exosuits. We've started moving water over, which is also good. We finally managed to get some nice bedrooms with some nice decor. Let's have a look at the decor rating. Yeah, look at that. Plus 55, plus 120. So much nicer than this area down here, which is at negative 330, 328. That's not the best, but I would like much more of this top area of the base to be green to really bump up morale and really decrease stress, which thankfully has gone down, but is no longer at 16% anymore. But guys, I'm going to go ahead and wrap up today's episode of Oxygen Not Included there. Next time, we'll come back. Like I said, we'll try and make this tank bigger, try and move some of this water over into here. We'll look at potentially transitioning over from mealwood into those, not pincher peppers. Let me check real quick into whatever the other flower was, the bristleberry, I think it was. Maybe look at moving over to those, potentially look at getting some more decor around the base, maybe duplicate our hatch farm over here to have stone hatches and regular hatches, and of course, continue on our quest to find crude oil. Maybe look into trying to get this guy to produce some crude oil on a regular basis by putting him in a completely carbon dioxide filled atmosphere, so that maybe we can get just a little bit of carbon dioxide and make just a little bit of plastic to replace our beds. But that is all for the future episodes. For now, as always, if you did enjoy the video, be sure to hit that like button. It really does help out a lot. Leave a comment down below, subscribe if you're new here to get notified as soon as new videos go out. As always, thank you for watching, and I'll see you guys next time.